You got your first IT job. Now what? Let's go over the 7 things that you can do to make the best of your current job opportunity and prepare for your next job opportunity. This might be kind of obvious to you, but if it isn't, it's vitally important to you in your career, not only currently, but also moving forward, that when you're starting in any type of new position, that you ask as many questions as possible about that environment. You see, when it comes to IT, every single IT environment is going to be set up completely different from one another. There are different policies and procedures in place that you're going to experience depending on the type of environment that you're in. So it's important to ask questions about how things are done in that specific environment. Ask your peers how they do things there. And just a quick example of what I mean by this is if a new user comes into the organization, what are the proper steps and procedures that you need to take to create that new user's account and all of the other accounts that are associated with it, and make sure that that user then receives their credentials and is able to log in. There are policies and procedures in many organizations that reflect just that circumstance. They'll also go over things that you would do if that person leaves that job or gets terminated. And that goes into detail the steps and procedures that you would need to take in disabling that user's account and all the other accounts associated with it as well. When you're starting off in an IT job, you're going to get introduced to a lot of different technologies. So it's extremely important that you take notes about the things that you're learning. IT can sometimes be a fast-paced environment, so you may only be able to take a quick note on that specific issue or technology that you ran across. So that means you can look it up later when you get home and study more of that information so that you can learn as much as you can. And of course, other things with taking notes and documentation is just documenting the steps and the procedures that you've taken to resolve specific issues in that environment. Sometimes you're going to run across specific applications in an environment, or you're just going to run across people who utilize applications in a specific way. And it might be important for you to document some of the processes and procedures that they go through and the ways that they utilize their software and applications so you can understand what they're doing, which can ultimately help you troubleshoot, if that makes sense. And note taking is always going to be crucial. And just to give a quick example, when you go into a new environment, one thing that you're going to come across is naming conventions. Every single environment that you step into is going to have a different naming convention for all of the different devices in their network. This goes for things such as servers, switches, PCs, laptops, even media devices like projectors. You're going to run across different types of naming conventions for all of these. And I've always found when I first get started in an environment, I take notes on those naming conventions so that I can better understand what I'm looking at when I'm remoting into a new device. Maybe by understanding the naming convention of a specific device, I can have a better understanding on where that device is located in the physical environment. And if I have to go troubleshoot it, I'll know exactly where I need to go to based on that naming convention. But again, please keep in mind every single naming convention is going to be different from one another, and they might already have documentation put into place that kind of tells you how their naming convention is put into place. And if they don't, that might be a great project for you to get started on. This is a great opportunity to ask your peers, your managers, everybody you can in your IT department if you can help them with any projects that they're working on. And the great thing about this is if you have networking teams or sysadmin teams or security teams in your environment, this is a great opportunity for you to learn about more of those job duties and the things that they do in their role in a day-to-day basis. So use these opportunities as a great way for you just to learn more about the different areas of IT. But of course, depending on the size of your team and in your environment in general, that can greatly kind of control the size of the projects you can get involved with. Getting yourself involved with projects as early as you possibly can and often as you can is always going to be greatly beneficial to you and your career. As I think I've already said a couple times in this video, when you're first getting started in IT, you're going to get introduced to a lot of different technologies. And this is a great opportunity to build your interests. So hopefully you're asking your peers if you can be involved in different projects, and hopefully you're taking notes about the things that you're learning so far, because this is going to help you really kind of build your interest list, right? Like you're going to start to understand different bits and pieces about networking and system administration and cybersecurity. And maybe one of these things really interests you a lot more than the other, so you can start to take your learning down that path a little bit further and start to plan plan for what you can be doing further in your career. As you're discovering your interest, you're probably going to be looking for a resource to learn more things. I highly suggest you guys check out IT Pro TV. They are not sponsoring this video, but this is going to be an affiliated link because you can use this coupon code ITCQ30 and it'll save you 30% off of the subscription over there. But you do get access to hands-on labs over there along with their video training. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, they've helped me pass my CompTIA Security Plus certification, and I love the content that they put out. So when you guys are interested in taking your IT skills to the next level, make sure you guys check out IT Pro TV. The link is in the description below. But enough of that help support this channel stuff. Let's get back to this video. Most importantly about creating goals is that you need to remember to be flexible, because when you're in IT, things change very quickly. And honestly, your interests can change just as quickly. You could be interested in being a system administrator when you're first getting started. And as you're going through the different steps and actually kind of learning the different things that a sysadmin does on a day-to-day basis, you might find yourself saying, well, I don't really enjoy that, but that network engineer over there, his job, that actually looks like a lot of fun. And the great thing about IT is you're not necessarily ever going to be siloed in one specific area. You can always transition. So you can always be flexible, but it's always important to kind of have some type of goal in mind of what's your next step. Maybe that's achieving a certification. Maybe that's achieving a specific job title. But again, I really have to emphasize and stress that be flexible about that, because you can transition into a completely different area of IT that you never would have expected just by kind of experiencing your IT journey, which I guess kind of leads us to our next two steps. I've said this probably 100 times before already, but you could pool 100 different people who work in IT and ask them how they got started, and you're going to hear 100 different answers. And that's okay. So what you can take from this is that there's no right path. There is no right way to get into IT, and there's no right way to get the specific job you want in IT. Everybody's journey to get to where they've gotten already in this field of information technology has been completely different from one another. So remember, just enjoy the journey. There's no right path. And we talked about that with being flexible, remember? Now, the very last bit of information that we're going to give you here is going to tie all of this together. While you're enjoying your journey and learning new things and getting involved with different projects, update your resume with the things that you're doing, especially as you're getting involved in these projects. If you helped out one of your administrators or one of your peers with a project like rolling out a new phone system, throw that on your resume. Assisted in the deployment of a Cisco phone system in an environment of 5,000 plus users, or something better than that, but you get the idea. Use all of these different projects and experiences towards your advantage. The more that you go through the steps that we previously mentioned in this video, the more you're going to understand how you can better craft your resume to target the job that you want to have. So as you're kind of documenting things about the things that you're interested in, working with your peers on projects that maybe specifically relate to, I don't know, like a job role that you might want to have one day, the more you can kind of tailor your resume to those specific job roles, because now you can have documented experience on your resume in those areas that you are working in or working to achieve future success in. So that's it for today's video. I hope you found these 7 steps useful, and good luck to you on your journey. It should be fun.